All right, ladies and gents, welcome to the Hidden Cup 3 talk show. Hidden Cup 3 is coming March 19th through the 22nd, so we're getting very close. The players will be playing with hidden identities, and it will be the largest prize pool for a 1v1 in 20 years. With me, I have Dave, who will be casting the entire final weekend with me. He did the same for Hidden Cup 1 and 2. What's going on, man?
You read that like right off of your notepad.
No, I actually improvised at the end.
Hidden Cup 3 is March 19th to 22nd. Players will be... I was like reading right along with you.
Yeah, the last part I improvised. All right.
That was great. That was great.
Anyways,
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Well, Dave is here. We have a lot to talk about here, but we also don't want the video to be too long. So, big thing we have to remind people of, because it's like we're all used to it now, we did not play on the Definitive Edition in Hidden Cup 1 and 2. And that has brought a lot of new people into the community, sure, but it's also changed the way players play. Some players have become more comfortable with it than others, and I think it's going to make...
motivation, too.
That as well, yeah. Things are completely different a year later. So I guess just to start it off, Dave, how do you think DE is going to change Hidden Cup? That's a rather general question, but how do you think playing on a new game is going to play out for Hidden Cup 3?
Well, like, aside from the logistics, which makes it way more difficult for admin work to happen.
That's true.
Having it played on Steam where you have to buy an individual game for each thing, players need new Steam accounts, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw it begin, kind of, at NAC 3.
Yeah.
Like how DE is changing the meta. We saw the range units, obviously, getting a lot more priority. Range civilizations like Britons over civs like Franks.
Yeah.
And I know DE's kind of... I've noticed it anyway. The melee pathing has definitely gotten better. They've worked towards that. But it's still not in a fabulous place.
Yeah, so I think how they play is a bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And the range civilizations are obviously going to be more of a factor. There's other things as well, like quick walling I think is a bit easier on DE because there's a bit less lag on the players'
That's
end.
definitely true.
So we'll see how that works out. And then shift clicking has obviously optimized the game a little bit more. I feel players are cleaner than they were.
Yeah, and that's actually not every player too, and we'll probably discuss this more later on in the video.
I'll bring it up.
But since this is still a relatively new game, we have players who are using some of the quality of life features. By the way, we are going to be looking for Auto Scout. If someone uses Auto Scout, I'm going to lose my mind. That'd be great. But
well, you know what? Auto Scout kind of is the meta if you keep it alive.
It is, yeah,
enough.
exactly.
It's like that 25-26 minute mark maybe when you're like, oh, I still have my scout. Okay.
Yeah. Well, obviously that's just a funny example, but just a simple one of the farms reseeding. That's something that some players use, some players don't. That'll be fun for us to guess, but it's all like a question of have players adapted to the new game? Are they comfortable with it? And the big thing you mentioned, Dave, is lack of lag, I believe. Even when it comes to just guessing who your opponent is, because players won't know who they're playing. I think that the lack of lag is going to make it... it's going to make it so much more difficult.
Especially if there's like a predetermined server that they need to play on.
Yep.
Which I think there is. I think Robo's doing that.
Sure. So I can actually explain this process. So if we were to always give the server for the players that was in the middle of the road, they could have a pretty easy guess of where their opponent was from. So what we've done is, I think there's a total of like 6 or 8 servers or something. We're going to pick middle of the road servers. So like out of 3 or 4 servers and then randomize it. So like one player might be playing on 125 ping, the other one might be playing at like 180 or something. It's not exactly even, but it's way less than Mr. Yo playing Fire or something where you have like 300, 400 plus ping like it was on peer-to-peer. So just in general, there'll be less lag. It'll be more difficult for players to be able to, know who they're playing. And I don't think that's really the biggest factor for the players, but that is something to point out for sure. So, speaking of the players, we have 16 names. It's on your screens right there, YouTube. And we could probably talk about each and every one. But I felt like since this is a hidden seeding tournament, we can't necessarily say like so-and-so is expected to get to this place because you never know who they're going to face. So instead, what I decided to do is we're each going to pick some names and talk them through because I think they're possibly the more interesting names to discuss. And I'm going to start this off, easy one, with the Viper. Viper, there's no question, is the best player in the world. And there's been no question for some time. Hidden Cup 1, he won in the finals 4-2 against MBL. Hidden Cup 2, he won in the finals 4-3 against the Max. And then you talk about like NAC tournaments, you talk about King of the Desert tournaments. Viper hasn't lost a serious big money tournament in like 7 years or something ridiculous, depending on what your definition of big tournament is. So my question is, Dave, I think the level has risen. Like, other players are better. And Viper is not winning 4-0 in these tournaments. In fact, he was behind 3-1 in Hidden Cup 2. Is Viper going to win Hidden Cup 3? Is Viper going to be able to do it again? Normally, the easy answer, the safe answer is to say yes. But maybe there are some new names that might show up this year.
I'd say Viper is still... At NAC 3, I gave him about a 70% chance to win the tournament.
Okay, yep.
Hidden Cup, from what I saw there and what I've seen since, I give him about an 80% chance to win Hidden Cup.
Okay, so you think Viper's even more favored at this point? Interesting.
From how sick he was at the finals.
That's true. He was pretty sick. Yeah.
And like how ready Hera was.
Yeah.
And like Hera would come out after every game, wash his face, get a drink, calm down, like prepare mentally, and that's more than I've seen from Hera in the past. So I was super impressed by that.
Sure,
but, like,
sure.
Viper looked really sick, and he still pulled it out,
yeah,
convincingly. And then like Fair Civ's Cup, you saw like the late game, aware, like preparing for the late game all through feudal, all through castle.
Yeah, he's so Viper's good at that. Yep.
So mentally prepared for everything that I give the other players 20%.
Everyone should be, since it's hidden seeding, what Dave is saying, no one wants to face him. No one wants to find out, oh shoot, I'm up against Viper, I can just feel it. Fair enough. No, I agree with you. I think, and we'll talk about some of these players, I think in Hidden Cup, there is a beauty in players not being able to know who they'll face the next week. Because if you know you're going to face, let's say Viper knows he's going to face a player like Hera, he'll know Hera's always plays clean. He knows Hera's probably going to pick this Civ on this map. You know, there's no preparation for a specific player. And I think we actually saw Max surprise Viper in Hidden Cup 2 with that, right? Mm-hmm. Max was going for wacky strategies and almost beat Viper in the finals. So we'll see. I'm with you. Viper still might be king after Hidden Cup. But who's on your list, Dave?
I just want to say one more thing about Viper. Yeah. Hidden Cup is great because it also works both ways. Viper doesn't know who he's matched up against. He'll figure it out.
Of course, yeah.
Most of the way through the series. But he'll actually play his best, hopefully. Which in a lot of tournaments he doesn't do.
Yeah, it's true.
It depends on the opponent. It depends on the prize pool, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Say what you will. But we'll see Viper at his best. Like Hidden Cup 2, he was amazing.
Yeah.
Robin Hood account was just unbelievable.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, my list. I think I'll lead off with MBL.
The other Norwegian.
As a player. The other Norwegian, probably like my favorite player stream to watch.
Mm-hmm, I agree.
Just because he's so unorthodox and he's such a personality. I know you had him casting. I saw YouTube when you said that MBL's your favorite co-caster now and that I'm no longer your favorite. I saw that, all right? I read those.
Are you just trying to light a fire under your ass before Hidden Cup 3? Dave has to step his game up.
I can forgive you, though, because MBL is amazing. And there's a few distinct things about his playstyle. I think we say this all the time. Like, we'll be watching, we'll be talking about his game. If MBL played like any other pro player, like there's certain things in his gameplay that if he fixed, he would be a god.
Yes,
like an absolute god.
He's the laziest pro player ever.
He is so lazy sometimes, and I can't decide whether it's just like part of his play style, and you take the good with the bad, or whether he can like improve that. Like, one thing, he's trying to improve shift clicking. He still doesn't shift click. He still cycles through all of his TCs, even when he's like just straight booming. He still gets housed all
the time.
of the time. It's actually unbelievable. Like, he needs pop space, he'll get housed, and he'll build a house with one villager.
Yep.
And it's like MBL.
But this is
10.
This is what's ridiculous. I'm bringing up Hidden Cup 1 bracket now, but with MBL, Hidden Cup 1, 4-2, lost to Viper in the finals. This is after he beat Slam, after he beat Riot. Okay, so he made it all the way to the finals.
Had one of the best sets against Viper in Hidden Cup 2, and then
in the
Hidden
semifinals.
Cup 1, he made it to the finals. So like
the only person that has ever stopped him in a Hidden Cup is Viper. He's an insane player. So one thing I'll say about him, he has never been a confident player, and like. We would have to pep talk him years ago, be like, "No, you're gonna be fine." And MBL's in his chat, like, "Oh, I'm gonna lose," but like he doesn't believe in himself. But my God, he should, dude. And I just don't know if DE, since he hasn't adapted to it quite as well, if his confidence is higher or lower. It's probably a bit lower. But I believe in MBL. Like, we're not gonna guess where he's gonna end up, but every single player in this tournament, MBL can beat. I will say though, he's always lacked confidence against Viper. He's never really like, if he's in a series against Viper, he might just realize, oh shoot, I don't feel like I have a chance.
And Hidden Cup kind of helps with that. Although I think they played each other long enough that they can kind of get a suspicion of who the other is. Mm-hmm. But still, I mean, yeah, I hope for the best for MBL. He really needs a result.
Well,
I think
laming is allowed now. So that does help MBL. So we'll see how much he goes for that. Well, the next one I'm going to go to is Nikov. Nikov had to fight through the qualifier. He was the number 1 seed. And Dave, I think Nikov is going to be the most prepared player for Hidden Cup 3. He was one of the most responsive players to me before the qualifiers, testing maps, sending screenshots if there were issues, talking about things with settings. And he told me, I had a conversation with him, I think a few days before he played Stark in the second round. I said, I think you're going to do well because you're preparing so much. And he said that he's never trained like this ever. And he said, and it was actually kind of sad the way he said it. He said, if I don't beat Stark and get into Hidden Cup, I don't know if I'll ever train like this again. Well, he got in. So he's doing well. And do you remember the days where we would say that Nikov was top 5? Like, there were people
I remember asking Viper when I did the podcast with him. I asked him, like, who's the player you're most afraid of to see on the other side, like, that you're against, right? Whether it be team game or 1v1. He said Nikov for both.
That's crazy. Yeah. So
and that was, to be fair, that was like 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago. But Nikov has always been a scary player, and his kryptonite has kind of been activity and like I'd say game performance. Like, I know his connection and stuff hasn't always been the greatest, but if you look at even just rated games right now, like, he's holding that top spot for a long time, and he keeps pushing the rating cap farther and farther up on DE. It's really impressive what he's done.
Yeah, and he was also kind of shafted by the hidden seeding. He's the one player in both Hidden Cups who is kind of shafted by the hidden seeding. So he beat Tato 3-1 in round 1 of Hidden Cup 1, then faced up against Viper, so lost in the quarterfinals to Viper. So first off, beating Tato, incredible result. Then Hidden Cup 2 rolls around. Who does Nikov get in round 1? Viper. But I think Nikov is playing so much better. He also has a cooler head, which can be said for some other Aftermath players. I don't think he tilts as much as he did in his younger years.
Something goes wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see, but I have very high hopes for him, Dave.
Yep. I am expecting big things from Nikov. I think it would be disappointing if he doesn't make it to the round of 8 for sure, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't make it to the semifinals.
I agree. Great. I think that Nikov is arguably top 4 going into this tournament, which is pretty crazy considering he played in the qualifier.
It's a good comeback.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, who do you have up next?
My next one would be Max, and Max, obviously, people I think kind of underrated him going into Hidden Cup 2. I know or Hidden Cup. Yeah, it was
Hidden Cup 2, yep.
Wow, it's too many now. I know we had said that he might be a dark horse when we did the video for Hidden Cup 2, and I think he's no longer a dark horse right now, but he could still do some serious damage. Like, Max's game sense is off the charts. If you just have a conversation with him while watching a high level game, the amount of knowledge that he brings to that is unbelievable. And I'd only put like Viper on par with him in terms of just raw game knowledge.
I agree.
And the way he can convert that into wins is really, really impressive. He's not as quick as the top guys.
Yeah, so don't look for, if you're trying to guess for Max, like, don't look for speed, but just look for strategy, man.
Yeah, and look for forward buildings. That's the indicator.
That's true.
With Max.
Yeah.
Look for forward buildings.
Yeah, we didn't see Max play a ton of 1v1s before Hidden Cup, and I think it shocked opponents when he would do some of the wacky things he did in Hidden Cup 2. Again, the fact that you can't prepare for an opponent is huge here, right? If they see a forward building in game 1, they might be like, shoot, well, that kills me. I just lost a game because I didn't know I was playing Max. So I think it's so interesting. Ever since Hidden Cup 2, Max hasn't had the best results in 1v1 tournaments. So it's either players have prepared for him and are like used to playing him, or he just maybe wasn't putting in enough time. But I'm really curious when we get the final reveal on the 22nd. Where Max will be and who he will be. I just can't wait to try and guess him.
He's such an entertaining player too.
Yeah.
Like, every Max skin that I watch, I love it. It's just amazing to watch him go.
All right, well, another player who prepares a lot, Tato. Tato actually has not had the best of times in Hidden Cups. Lost to, who did I say? Nikov 3-1 in Hidden Cup 1. Hidden Cup 2, Tato lost to Mr. Yo in round 1, 3-2. So he's actually lost round 1 in every Hidden Cup, which for a player with his reputation and his preparation is a pretty big surprise, I would say.
Well, preparation, you can only do so much of it if you don't know who you're going to be facing, right?
That's a
and
good
that's
point.
what we've always said about Tato, is that he prepares strategies not only based on maps and civs, but on the opposing player as well and their tendencies.
Yeah.
So maybe Hidden Cup kind of nerfs Tato a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd love to see him get out of that round of 16, but if he hasn't done it before, who's to say he's going to do it again, especially with the stacked lineup here.
Yeah. I mean, Tato is training a lot. Like, there's certain players, we're at a time now where almost every pro player has a stream, and Tato is prioritizing preparation and training with doubts. I know this because I've spoken to both of them. Over his stream, over his YouTube, all those things. Whereas there are some other players we might mention who are just playing rated games, right? So I believe that the preparation will be there, and I think Tato will be in tip-top shape. Where he'll end up, we'll see. I think that Tato will certainly want to get past round 1. I think he has the potential to make it into the semifinals and even the finals, depending on who he's up against, of course. So it'll be fun to look for.
Mm-hmm. And the third player on my list is Lan. Now, Lan's an interesting one because he's qualified for the last few big tournaments.
Yep.
He is always talking to him in Hamburg, he seemed kind of frustrated that they were all invite tournaments recently. And that he has to go through that qualification process. But in doing that, I feel like he's gotten a lot of high-level games under his belt,
That's true.
Lot of good experience, and he's proved that he is into that top tier of like top 10 players at the moment. In terms of like game tendencies, I think we'll be looking for someone who picks like the hybrid maps. I know he does like maps like Cross.
Definitely.
And we'll also be looking for someone with maybe some unorthodox civ picks. He is like one of the only pro players I've seen win with Vietnamese in a 1v1 tournament. So,
oh man. Well, I don't know if he'll go that crazy, but that would be ridiculous. Now, Lan is the only player on our list and the only player on the total list of participants that has not played in a Hidden Cup before. So we had the qualifier. 7 out of the 8 names that qualified have played in Hidden Cups before. So I think that's great for the scene. And Lan has been saying this on AoE Zone for like 2 years. Like, give me an opportunity to perform, give me an opportunity to qualify, and he proved that he deserved to get in. Funny enough, Hidden Cup 2 qualifiers, we only had 2 spots available, and it was Dogal who beat Lan. Dogal also qualified here. So, Dave, I think Lan could actually do well. He's a solid player. There's no flair about him, I would say. He picks solid strategies. He plays safe. He actually reminds me a lot of Dogal and of Fire, the other Brazilian, and how
But
they
he
play.
knows when to start being aggressive, though.
That's a good point.
That's the thing with him, right? Like, if you compare him to someone like Fire, Fire will always play safe in tournaments, but sometimes I feel like he doesn't know when the opportunity is there to be aggressive, whereas Lan will turn that switch and will go forward.
How crazy would it be? Like, Lan is not a player that I think a lot of viewers are going to guess, and that's us included. So how crazy would it be when it's all said and done if Lan made it to the semis or something, knocked out Leary or Hera or MVL? That would be crazy.
I'd just be going Dark Horse the whole way, every round. This is Lan, 100% Lan.
Yeah.
Finals, this is Lan, man. ACCM versus Lan.
Lan confirmed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the final one on my list, it's funny how many Aftermath players we're talking about here. I think we're talking about the entire Aftermath team is
Heart.
Hera. Oh, and except for Heart, yeah.
Rip Heart.
So, in most people's eyes, I think people would say that Hera is number 2 in the world right now, which is pretty crazy because last year on our Hidden Cup 2 talk show, what we said was Hera needs a tournament result, and then he can prove that he's in the top 10 conversation. Like he was a guy who's always had the speed, just never broke into the top 10. He not only broke into the top 10 conversation, he broke into, the top 3 conversation. Now, there's good things and bad things about Hera I want to bring up. He always plays standard, always plays tryhard. If he's playing rated games and he gets a map where Persians are seen as probably the best, he picks Persians. Aztecs are probably the best, he picks Aztecs. That's good because he's one of the best in the world at that, Dave. But when we have 11 maps, 5 of which are never played in anything but Hidden Cups, I think that if one of the civs that he was expecting to gets banned, one of the civs that he was expecting to be good isn't quite as good because he hasn't had hundreds of games on it, that could also be negative for Hera.
Yeah, and I think if the finals... I keep bringing up NAC3, but it's
Sure.
like the biggest tournament, right?
Yeah.
So if the finals of that taught us anything, it's maybe don't let him go off into the deep end with the civ picks, because there were some questionable ones there. I agree with you on that, but I also have to say that he's just been playing so well. That I think
clean.
To expect him to be anywhere other than the semis, at least, would be doing a disservice to Hera. I expect Hera to definitely make it into the top 4 and then give a good fight to whoever he's facing to get into the top 2.
Yeah, and we might look back and say, all right, well, Hera, he might not have had a strategy prepared for 4 out of the 11 maps, but it didn't matter because he won every single map he played, because he's been playing so good. I would say that Hera is probably the player who could topple Viper. Out of all the players, Hera would be the one if he does match up against Viper at any point.
I give him a 10% chance.
Okay. So wait, you gave Viper 80%?
Yeah, there's 10% left for the rest of you. The rest of you can split that, all right? This is me a real small piece of pie.
Just give Doubt's not on our list, but give him 1% just so he believes, all right?
Yeah, actually, you know what? Out of most of these players, the most favorable matchup versus the Viper might be Doubt.
I actually agree with you.
Like that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone else is scared of facing Viper, and Doubt's just like, we've done this before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, who's the last one on your list then?
The last one on my list is the biggest question mark, the highest potential, and
we've had this conversation
I'd say
before.
highest disappointment as well. Sometimes anyway, it's Leary. Now Leary is probably the fastest player to ever play the game.
Mm-hmm.
The execution is always there. Even if he takes breaks and comes back, the execution is there. It's just strategy, decision making, prepping for that late game. I think
I agree.
Where Leary struggles, especially if he hasn't been putting in the practice. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen him streaming that often. So I don't know how much he's playing at the moment, which makes me a bit nervous for his chances. But if he has a good day, he can beat anyone in the world.
Hidden Cup 2, many people forget this, but Hidden Cup 2, Hero Leary's results, he 3-0'd ACCM, kind of expected. He then beat Dogal 3-2, and then he was going to be in the semifinal against the Max, and his mom was in a car accident that day, and the semifinals were live, so we had to basically replace him, which was really, like, I forgot about this. This was a nightmare.
Do you
scenario,
remember waking up at like 7
and getting
seeing
that text?
those messages?
Oh,
yeah,
man. It was,
oh my God.
Yeah. So like he could have been in the he could have beat Max and been in the finals against Viper. So he showed up and looked really good in Hidden Cup 2. I'm with you, Dave. Does he have the potential to beat Viper? Yes. Does he have the potential to beat everyone? Yes. Is he putting in the time? And is he going to show up each day? We'll see. We've been saying this for 2 years about Larry. He's young. He has a ton of skill. I think he just turned 18. And he has a ton of potential to go places, but just a matter of how much work he puts into it. Well,
Yep.
That was some solid discussion on the players. And there are other players here. Obviously, no disrespect to them. Many who qualified looked good. Many who are expected to do well. But now I want to move on to the maps in general. You'll see all the maps on your screens now. So many of these maps are maps that are only played in Hidden Cup. Now, I have to pull it up myself here so I can go through them all, but 1 second. Here we go. Okay, so first off, Bay and Cup. Those maps have been in Hidden Cups before, so there is some experience there. You have El Dorado, which is a new version of El Dorado, Dave. So there's water on the outer edge. There's been similar versions in the past. You have High Tide, brand new with Hidden Cup 3. Ravines, which is not technically a Hidden Cup map, but that was a map that we altered from the DE version, so it's very different. And then Slopes. So, in theory, when this tournament it has a heavy home map bias, or I guess emphasis, this could be huge if you prepare strategies on these new maps.
Yeah, and the qualifiers, too, the people who had to go through that with this map pool, they're going to have valuable experience over the people that were invited in.
I agree. I think that is one thing that Hera brought up to me. He said that I almost wish I was in the qualifier. That way I would get to see how players would play the maps and just get comfort levels on them. And this actually brings me back to my point. When players are training behind closed doors, or if they're training behind closed doors, are they playing the maps? I know some players are. I know other players. MBL's a big one. He's just playing rated games. Hera, I know he has school. I know he has a busy life. I know he likes to stream and YouTube and all that. Playing a lot of rated games. So I think that in Hidden Cup, preparation is key. And these maps could really shake things up.
Yeah, and some of them, they are hybrid maps, but like you take a map like High Tide, for example.
Okay.
It's a hybrid map. You have to pay attention to the water. But a map like High Tide, because the bases are so close, might actually benefit players like Vivi, who's not really known for playing well on hybrid maps.
That's
right?
true, yeah.
It's more similar to Arabia, and you're way closer to the dude who loves to tower rush, or players like ACCM, you know? And then there's other ones like maybe something like Ravines, where I could see Doubt doing very well because he can wall off that whole area of the map and boom behind it. So it's an interesting map pool for sure. There's a lot of ones we've seen here before, but I think the ones we haven't seen, like Slopes, Ravines, High Tide, really, really solid additions to the map pool.
Yeah, and in terms of just pure enjoyment, I love Slopes, man. Slopes is so good. All the Slopes games were good. It's aggressive in fuel age. There's pros and cons of every decision. And High Tide, we actually, I wasn't a fan of that in the qualifier. Spoke to the team, and we actually had changes to High Tide before the main event. Players were made aware, obviously. So it will mix up training and preparation a little bit for them. It's a lot more open than what we saw in the qualifiers. So there's opportunities to forward, whereas before you'd see a bit more heavy walling and winning on water. I'm excited for the maps. I feel like we should probably mention that Hank the Super Nerd and Algernon are absolute gods because Bay, Cup, High Tide, Slopes, and then the editing on Ravines and all the other maps too. It's just amazing work from them, man. I don't know where I would be as far as a tournament host goes if I didn't have people who could come up with maps like this. All right, so now we get to the fun stuff, Dave. Identities. We have 16 heroes, and this is always the best part about Hidden Cup. Rooting for certain heroes, trying to guess who is who. We have Charlemagne, King Sancho, Joan the Maid, Bad Neighbor, Leif Erikson, Princess Yodit, Katyan Khan, Sheriff of Nottingham. Is it Saladin? Saladin, okay. Friar Tuck, Alaric the Goth, Vlad Dracula, Henry the Lion, William the Conqueror, Charles Martel, and my favorite, Emperor in a Barrel.
I love how we immediately default to picking the most useless heroes. So I felt like King Alfonso did King Sancho dirty when he killed him in that alley. So I'm going for King Sancho.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Tristan's sitting here yeah, I played the campaign.
Well, I actually don't recall that, but Dave told me, so I know the story. I'm not just saying yes, not knowing it. It would so Dave and I are going to be rooting for these guys hard. And I'm really hoping that somehow the final is King Sancho against Emperor in a Barrel. That would be hilarious. So yeah, thoughts on the names here? We have a good mix.
Yeah, we've got, they all kind of bring back nostalgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's names like Vlad Dracula, which is just unbelievable. You could have a vampire in the Hidden Cup tournament. You got Friar
Tuck. Oh my god.
Friar Tuck versus Sheriff of Nottingham.
They're in the same campaign, right?
That's a historic... Yeah. Well, they're in the same Robin Hood story.
Okay. Nice.
Think about it.
Yeah.
You could have some storylines here. I like it.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. It's just ridiculous, too. And there will be a YouTube video where all these heroes duke it out in the order of this bracket. And you guys can see exactly how that would go. I imagine there's going to be some pretty lopsided ones, but I'm looking forward to it. And since the players have hidden identities, keep in mind they can't share with their teammates or anyone who they are. I really think it's going to be difficult for us to guess who is who this year because we're not still accustomed to casting on DE, and there's less lag now. We could easily look at Hidden Cup 2 games and say, all right, there's some lag between the players. We can't do that now. Some of the things we look for are completely different.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's a few players that will stick out like a sore thumb. I think maybe they'll play differently with Hidden Identity, but guys like ACCM or MBL will probably stand out more than, someone in the middle of the pack, like Doubt or Fire or Velez. But still, it's going to be more difficult because we don't have that ping to go off, and we're judging this based on recorded games.
So at the point of recording this, we've only done one Hidden Cup show match, and there will be 3 more before the main event. So there's a small sample size for this information, but during the show matches, we asked the participants to guess who they were playing against, and recently we had Velez against Dogao, and Dogao thought he was playing Max, another Finnish player, and Velez thought he was playing Fire, another Brazilian player. So I just found that so interesting, and I'm really curious to see what the players guess in the main event, because we're requiring that after each round they guess one player. I'm saying that players will get it right 40% of the time. I think you might go higher, but I think with so many players and being on DE, they'll have educated guesses, but it's still going to be so tough.
Well, I think in the semifinals, that percentage is going to go up.
That's
true.
In
the finals, it'll probably be 99% sure that they're facing someone. But in that round of 16, that's where the mystery comes in, right? Because it's random seeding. You're not doing it by rating. You're not doing it by how the players have voted. So you could literally have any matchup in the first round.
Yeah, and it could all be wrong. See, it always slightly bothered me because after Hidden Cup 1 and 2, players thought, they said, yeah, I knew. But what probably happened was...
Though.
Exactly, yeah. What probably happened was they had an educated guess. They're like, it could be one of these 3 players, and then they found out it was one of those 3 players, and they said, oh yeah, I knew.
Yeah, they would have said yes for any one of those 3 players.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah.
I know Viper, this one's the one that sticks out to me. Viper said he thought he was playing Leary until, do you remember game 1 of the semifinal in Hidden Cup 2? It went on for 2 hours.
You remember... Oh, that Aztec versus Chinese war, yeah.
Yeah, so Viper said that he thought he was playing Leary the whole game until
he saw the Bombard Towers.
Until he saw the Bombard Towers, and then he thought, okay, this is MBL.
I don't remember him saying that, but like now that I think back to that game, MBL is like the only person that would make Bombards.
Yeah, and I think even in the earlier rounds, I was calling Eric the Red Leary, and I think Viper had mentioned that he was maybe watching the stream, because remember, they can't see the previous rounds unless they watch the stream, right? So, he said he thought it was Leary all up to that point. It was so funny.
Was it the Cup game where they were both, MBL was trying to lame the boar and Viper was just standing there?
Oh, there was a few of them.
There was a few like standoffs like that.
Yeah, and then we knew, we're like, there's no way that this isn't MBL because the laming is too damn good. And also back then we had the ping aspect of it, so they were like, their ping must have been really low for some of those moves. All right, yeah, I mean, I'm so excited. Just so the viewers know, if you show up, we're going to have guessing competitions, so you guys will have a way to guess the player identities, and the people at the top of that will win prizes. Also, we'll have some fun mixer content and filler content. We're going to have polls and voting and just a whole ton of stuff, which I can't even get to right now, but it'll just spice up the content more. It's also good, Dave, that we don't know who is going to be in each best of 5, because let's be honest, if it was ACCM versus the Viper or something in round 1, most people would think, all right, well, if I'm going to go grocery shopping at any point, this is the time. Yeah, because
no, wait. You wait until game 1 is over. If ACCM takes a win, then you're like, I might as well stick around.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, so, there's always been certain names that catch the eye, and you just don't know. So now you're constantly trying to guess, which makes every game exciting.
Everyone could be Viper on this list.
Yeah.
So always tune in to everything. Tell your mom.
Get all the moms. All the moms.
Listen, let's say we have 20,000 viewers. Imagine if they all brought their mom.
That's 40,000.
40,000.
I mean, I hope. I really hope that there would be 20,000 moms.
That's a lot of moms.
It is possible. I don't know how old the viewers are that are watching, but yeah, that's a lot of moms. What are you expecting as far as the quality of the games in Hidden Cup 3, Dave? Because the scene, I think, is at an all-time high in terms of competitiveness.
Quality of the games going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. Like, the prize pool on this alone and the motivation I've seen pro players putting into practicing, I think we're going to see the best possible games in AoE 2. Now, whether they're going to be super entertaining games, I don't know, because a lot of the times like sloppy play is considered entertaining by to people, but if players are playing at like a high level of finesse and a very, very high skill cap, sometimes you can recognize the fact that like nothing is going wrong for either one.
That's true.
As entertainment, you can, if you're a real lover of the game, you watch those crisp plays, like just walling in time or just having enough resources to click up to the next stage. That is like the next level of where we want Age of Empires 2 to be.
Yeah, as close to perfection as possible, I think. If you compare Hidden Cup 3 to any other tournament, you're probably going to see better play and cleaner play in this because of the prize pool, because of the prestige, and that's probably how we would hope this to go for years, right? Mm-hmm. Next event is even better, bigger prize pool, and whatever that is. How much do you expect players to troll around a bit and mind game with the identities? Because I have some stats, and I'm not gonna like give all my stats now because that's for the Hidden Cup 3 main event. But there were some players. I'll give an example. Hera chose the color orange in every single game in Hidden Cup 2, which he never does. He only wanted to act as if he was backed, who typically does that. So that's an example. There are some people who might try and not necessarily change strategy, but type or change colors. Who knows?
Viper also went yellow the entire time.
He did. He didn't mess around.
And Max went teal the entire time in Hidden Cup 2.
Yeah.
So Actually, he might have gone green a couple
I
times.
think
can't
he
remember.
was. I think he was kind of all over the place.
I
but
thought it was teal. I'm pretty sure it was teal.
Maybe it was, but some players troll, and then some players might even go as far as to, I don't know, they're winning 2-0 in a series. Will they go for something wacky and try and act like there's someone else? I don't know.
Did they get money again for the least guessed?
Yes.
Is it like the last time?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's nice.
The player who is guessed the least is going to receive $100, and that was actually Doubt in the previous one. And it's not Doubt because of the meme, just so people, like, because some people vote Doubt for everything, right? But it's not Doubt for the meme because this was our official voting form where participants could win things. And dude, we either called Vivi Doubt or Doubt Vivi or something. I didn't have Doubt pinned at all, I remember. He only 4 or 5% of participants in the guessing game got him correct. I think it was 91% for Viper and 67% for MBL as the top two. Like, everyone knew who that was in that semifinal. All right. Well, let's end with goals here. I said already when I screwed up the recording that expectations for viewership on these events has just gone through the roof. I would have never expected that 17,000 was possible for Hidden Cup 2 a year ago. And, with NAC 3 happening recently, and I think hitting 25 or 26, Age 2 is just blown up with DE. It's getting really popular, and I don't know what to expect, Dave. I don't even know where to start with goals, to be honest, because hitting over 10,000 viewers is so absurd already. Like, how do I even make a goal beyond that,
I would say, and I'm going to say your baseline is 20K, and then you can be plus. The maximum is another 20K on top of that. I think the community is there. The casual watchers of Age of Empires 2 are there. It's just whether they come out, and whether their moms come out.
Yeah,
that's what matters in this calculation.
It's really is YouTube, right? There are going to be some people that come in from Twitch front page, but people who are actually interested in a part of this community, each and every one that might show up from YouTube is, I think, what's going to possibly take us over the record. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Dave. This is how I have it broken down. I have happy. I have content. I have. Would you say happy's above content? Okay, I'm gonna say this. If we're over 10,000 viewers, it's a successful event for sure, right? Players are getting huge prize pool. There will be tons of people watching. I'm happy with that. If it's over 20,000 viewers, I am what's above happy? Elated, I guess. Over 20,000 viewers.
That word in your life?
I've used it, every now and then. I break out of the thesaurus. The thesaurus 90. But over 20,000 viewers is just ridiculous. I am elated. But my goal is over 30,000. That I went over 30,000 people as a peak. And I'm actually shooting for 50. That sounds absurd, but
the thing is, once you get over that 20K mark, you start getting people that don't even know the game and are just browsing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, we saw that bump at NAC. As soon as it went over 20K, it was immediately up to 24.
Yeah.
It's just people are looking for that big event, right? And that's great because we could pull in, if we get above that level, we could pull in tons of people who've never tried the game before.
Yeah, that's huge.
And
that's
download
huge.
it, get into the community, etc.
Or for a lot of those people think, what, this game exists? I thought this game was dead 20 years ago. So it's not even people finding a new game, it's people revisiting the community and joining in. The way I see it is, as long as I put in maximum effort and do what I can do and do everything within my control, I'm sure I'm going to be pleased, right? 3 years ago, if I would have said that I had a goal of hitting over 10,000 viewers, I would have said it was ridiculous. And I'll always remember that. So, I can't forget about YouTube though, because this is all going to go to YouTube at some point. And while the live stream is the hype, and we hope that people on YouTube do show up over the 19th through the 22nd, I really would like to see on average 50,000 views on each video, Dave, because it's just quality viewing.
You hear that, guys? If it's not at 50,000, keep refreshing.
No, I'm not saying that.
Make a new account. Refresh.
And
make
also,
a new account.
You know what? Moms probably don't have YouTube accounts. So they can
press
watch
F5 though.
Yeah, they could. Well, they can watch without the account and then create an account too. There you go. I don't know how that works. My channel's going to get taken down because people abusing the ad revenue system or something. But no, like I think Hidden Cup 2 had amazing views. I think over 1 million views on the playlist, which is pretty unreal for a tournament. Because normally people will watch, people who really like the tournaments watch on the stream. They're the more dedicated. But they normally don't watch on YouTube. So that's a realistic goal. I would like to see that. But that's just because I never forget about the YouTube channel, man. This stream and Twitch, all that stuff wouldn't be where it was if it wasn't for YouTube. Now, this is going to seem super ambitious, but I have to set goals. I'm going to be transparent on those goals. The prize pool going into Hidden Cup 3 technically is at $49,500. Now, that is if I have 5,000 Twitch subscribers on the nose, or on the, that's the phrase, right? On the nose, on the dot. $1 for every Twitch subscription will go into the prize pool. I guess above 5,000 will go into the prize pool. So I'm committing 5K minimum, basically. And obviously with the big stream over 4 days, I would hope that more money would go into the prize pool and there'd be more subscriptions. And Dave, I really want 10 more emote slots. And the only way...
How do you get that?
The only way we get 10 more emote slots, it's the final chapter, is if 10,000 Twitch subscriptions is hit. Technically, it'd have to be like 9,500, I think, because if you have a tier 2 sub or tier 3, there's more points. But yeah, if it's possible that we hit over 20,000 viewers and 10,000 subs by the end of Hidden Cup 3, I will be ecstatic. And, you know, obviously more money goes in toward the prize pool for the players. And then we get emote slots for next Hidden Cup. We can have more emotes to play around with. So that's pretty much all I have set as goals. Now, this is my channel and, you know, all that good stuff. So I don't know, Dave, if you're like... The thing about Dave, guys, is when Dave co-casts with me, it's like we are both so focused on making it an excellent production. Like sometimes Dave kind of sells himself as the guy who like makes the jokes and looks at the birds and whatnot and you know, banters with me. We're friends, but Dave is just as serious about it as I am, so I don't know if you have any goals or like anything that you'd like to accomplish in Hidden Cup.
Oh, I just want to be like last Hidden Cup was a grind, I think, and I wasn't expecting it to be like 3 straight days.
Yeah,
of like you do this for a living. I just kind of get home from work and do this. So I think this time I'm going to be better prepared.
Okay.
Than previously. I wasn't feeling the greatest to that one, so that's my goal, is just to give my best possible performance.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think
and enjoy it along the way too.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing. And maybe it's just because I've been doing this for full time for over 2 years now, but I was only around the year mark last time, and so I think obviously I put a ton of pressure on myself to make sure it's good production for the community. But I think I possibly didn't enjoy it quite as much as I could have because I was so focused on how things looked, how things sounded. So I think this year, that's probably my one goal I'll tack on is just freaking enjoy it. This is going to be great. We'll have amazing players, money that players never fought for before, and obviously great people and all the moms in the chat. So
I really hope I don't drop too. That's like my number one worry at the moment.
Oh, you mean from
is
Discord?
That like, well, no, but like what happens if our Discord server goes out, or what happens? Like we can switch that, so we can go to TeamSpeak, whatever. But what happens if a car runs in the internet pole outside my place?
Dude, Dave, don't even say that, because as the guy who's controlling the stream, that is my biggest worry. What if the internet goes out? Because you can't just say, oh, we're pushing it back to next weekend. Like that doesn't work, man. We have. Like, Twitch is going to be involved on this one. There'll be front page hooked up, like, all types of different things. So, yeah, those are the things that keep me up at night. But, guys, Dave and I could talk all night about Hidden Cup 3 and what to expect and all the good things about it. We just wanted to upload this and give you guys some conversation to get you hyped up and maybe give you some of our thoughts leading into the main event. The main event will be March 19th through, and I'm not reading this off the sheet, by the way. It'll be 19th through the 22nd. It's 4 days. Every day will start at 13 GMT, which I think is 9 a.m. for us, Dave. And we'll probably run anywhere from 7 to about 10 hours. After the live stream, we'll have reruns for people who might be in different time zones. But if you could make it, because I've never had a single person say, you know what, T90, I regret making it to Hidden Cup 2. I've never heard that before. Maybe they're just kind enough not to say it. But
they already left your stream.
That's true. Why. They're gone, yeah. It wouldn't make much sense for them to stick around, I guess. But get hyped, guys. It's coming. Save this outro, Dave, please. That was bad.
Keep your stick on the ice.